Money in the Bank 2023 is in the books, the first pay-per-view in London in 20 years, and what a show this was. The return of John Cena, Drew McIntyre, the Bloodline Civil War, Money in the Bank winners. This show had a lot going on, and we're going to dive right into it right now, starting off with the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men, and Damian Priest wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, going into it, the field of Money in the Bank participants was kind of weak. I mean, it was a lot of fresh stars, non-world champions, which is good, but they all kind of didn't feel like they could be world championship material, in my eyes at least. Then they added Logan Paul, and Logan Paul was honestly the star power that the match needed, and he did pretty great in this match, and we'll get into that whole situation there. But there were only three options in my eyes of who could win it. It was Damian Priest, Logan Paul, and LA Knight, and it seemed like it was LA Knight or Logan Paul for the most part of who would win it. Damian Priest kind of coming into it was the dark horse, and it was kind of obvious, honestly, going into it, to be honest, that Damian Priest would win this. They were setting it up. He was fighting Seth Rollins on Raw. He's in Judgment Day, which is one of the biggest groups in WWE right now, and they were creating some dissension with Finn Balor, so he is up there in the main event scene, and none of the other guys in the match really, except for Logan Paul, are in the main event scene, so it does make sense that he would win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, to be honest, I do like Damian Priest, but I do think he's kind of missing something that would take him to the next level. So before Money in the Bank today, I didn't really, care all that much about Damian Priest and see him as world championship material, and it remains to be seen the way they treat Money in the Bank these days, whether or not he actually wins the world title or not. But it'll be interesting if he does. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. It'll definitely have to be on Seth Rollins or something. But they've been talking about cashing in on Intercontinental Champion or United States Champion. Please no, that should not be a thing. It definitely has to be on Seth. Unfortunately, I think Seth should have a long run with it, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But the Money in the Bank ladder matches, while entertaining, they're a big cluster. Like, it was pretty messy. And I mean, if this match was real, if this was like a real thing, people had to climb up ladders and get a briefcase or a title or something, it would be messy. So it does make sense. But yeah, it was very messy, very botchy, both men and women's matches. And we got to Logan Paul and Ricochet. This, oh man, I feel so bad for Logan. I bet he's beating himself up about it. But there was this spot where they were supposed to tip the ladder, bounce off the ropes, and then hit a Spanish fly through the tables. And Ricochet, he was able to meet his mark and balance on the top rope, but Logan Paul lost his footing and they kind of struggled on the ropes and then hit a Spanish fly, and Logan landed on his head through the table. And man, they kind of recovered it, but it could have been so cool if they actually executed it properly. So a bit of a botch there. Still the coolest moment of the match. Off the top of my head, Butch hit a moonsault onto everybody on the outside of the ring. Ricochet hit a 450 onto Butch, I believe, and Santos Escobar on a ladder bridge, which was pretty cool. Logan hit a frog splash onto Damian Priest on a ladder bridge, and I don't think the ladder was supposed to break, but it was so funny. Logan splashed him and then he just like ricocheted off the ladder and just splat on the floor. That was pretty funny. So yeah, pretty good ladder match, pretty exciting. And at the end of it, it was LA Knight at the top of the ladder. We thought he was going to get the briefcase, but in came Damian Priest, launched him off with like a broken arrow kind of suplex, more of a throw, and Damian Priest won the Money in the Bank contract. And we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I don't know at this stage if he's going to be world championship material yet, but we'll have to wait and see if they develop him more. Seems like they might be breaking up the Judgment Day, or I don't know. I don't really know if Finn's going to be the one to leave Judgment Day or Damian Priest be the one to leave Judgment Day. It seems like they're setting up something there. Then we had the Women's Tag Team Championship match. We had Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan win back their titles from Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. And I was like half paying attention to this, and then all of a sudden Shayna turned on Ronda Rousey, beat her up, choked her out. And it was just so random. It's like, this came out of nowhere. There were no seeds really planted, it seemed. It just came out of nowhere. So I thought they would have a long run as a team, but it seems like maybe they're setting up a match for SummerSlam. And yeah, that was just so random and weird, but it's good to see Raquel and Liv as tag team champions. They're a good team, but yeah, very weird. Then we had Gunther defend the Intercontinental Championship against Riddle, and this match was basically centered around Riddle's injured ankle, and they had a good match. I wish they had a proper match where there was no injury and they could have just gone all out. And it seems like this is kind of a one and done match, unfortunately, but yeah, they had a good match. They could have had an even better match if they went all out. But then Drew McIntyre came out and returned to WWE, and apparently on the press conference with Triple H, it said that the rumors of him trying to go somewhere else were not true, and that he was just dealing with some injuries. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It looks like this match will be at SummerSlam. I always thought after WrestleMania this would be the case, and yeah, I guess Drew McIntyre might be the one to beat Gunther. We'll have to wait and see, because maybe Gunther should lose the Intercontinental Championship and then move on to the World Heavyweight Championship, because Seth and Gunther would be a great match. So we'll have to wait and see there. The match should be great at SummerSlam, so I'm excited for that. Then we had Dominic Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes, and this match was fun. Cody Rhodes so over in London, and yeah, this was basically a filler match, a filler feud for Cody Rhodes for him to get to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in some sort of gimmick match, which should be good. And yeah, not much to say here. Cody Rhodes seems like he's going to be fighting Roman Reigns again at WrestleMania 40. That seems to be what the plan is. I don't know if he's going to have to win the Royal Rumble next year to do that, but yeah, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns seems to be the plan. Then we had a surprise appearance from John Cena, and John Cena was in town in London filming a movie, and he popped by WWE and cut a promo in front of the fans, basically putting over the fans, saying that they're a great crowd, which they were. They came with the chants. They were doing great all throughout the night, being loud. And Cena was advocating for a WrestleMania in London, and if that happened, I'd love to go there for that. And then Grayson Waller came out. I'm a big fan of Grayson Waller, fellow Aussie, and he's just great on the mic, in the ring, does some crazy stuff, some hardcore stuff. You'll have to see. If you've never seen Grayson Waller yet, he's going to wow you. He's going to be a big deal on SmackDown. And I'd love to get him in WSC too, so hopefully the figure comes out soon. But Grayson was putting down London, trashing the city, and basically saying that WrestleMania should be in Australia, WrestleAustralia, he was saying, so that would be cool. I'd love WrestleMania in Australia too. Not gonna happen though, but would love to see it. And then that basically led to Grayson Waller beating up John Cena, and then Cena gave him an AA to finish it off. Great little segment there. It was a really long segment, but a lot of fun. Great to see Cena there. Great spotlight for Grayson Waller. Then we had the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. A pretty predictable match, but it was the right winner. We had Io Sky win Money in the Bank. They've been setting up the dissension with Bayley and Io all this time, so yeah, it seems like that was the right choice to go with. This match again was very sloppy. Some notable things: Trish Stratus was doing some Matrix stuff with all these head scissors and things like that. Zelina Vega did like a Code Red Sunset Flip powerbomb to, I believe it was Zoe Stark, onto a ladder bridge, which was pretty crazy. Becky hit a manhandle slam on a ladder bridge to Trish Stratus. Io with a moonsault off the top of a ladder. And then this very creative finish, Trish and Zoe Stark tried to put handcuffs on Becky Lynch, but Becky fought out of it. Then Io actually handcuffed Bayley, her teammate, onto Becky Lynch, and they got stuck inside the ladder, and then she climbed over Bayley to get the briefcase. So yeah, very cool there. Great to see Io win the briefcase, 2 new stars with Money in the Bank. You love to see it. I think Io will definitely win the title, and she'll cash in on, I think, Asuka. Damian Priest remains to be seen. And again, I forgot to talk about LA Knight, and I think LA Knight not winning this, because he's so over, like everyone thought he should win. And I just think that, you know, Damian Priest was probably the original plan. They've been kind of setting this up for a couple weeks now, so I think he was always in the cards. So yeah, LA Knight, I think they need to build him up more, and I think this loss will help him. He's one of the most organically over guys, the most organically over guys since Daniel Bryan, I think. And I think that this loss and the rug being pulled out from under him, I think that's going to help him and get him even more popular with the fans. So I think we'll have to wait and see what they do there. Unfortunately, it's on the same brand as Roman Reigns, so it's very unlikely he's going to sniff the world title scene there. I mean, he could be an opponent, but he's definitely not winning the world title or beating Roman Reigns. The only shot he kind of had was against Seth, so it's going to be, interesting what they do with him. Hopefully he gets a bigger spotlight. Also, in terms of who Seth Rollins is going to face at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship, I believe they're just going to run it back with Finn Balor. The story's there. It didn't really have much of a clean finish here at Money in the Bank, so I think they're going to run it back, maybe even Demon Finn Balor. I mean, it makes sense because this whole story with them started 7 years ago at SummerSlam 2016, so it only makes sense that it would happen again at SummerSlam. So I think they run it back, maybe even Demon Finn Balor. Who knows, maybe Finn wins and then Damian Priest cashes in on Finn. Or, I don't know, maybe Seth wins and then Damian Priest cashes in on Seth. So something like that I think will definitely happen. But yeah, Damian Priest is Mr. Money in the Bank, Senior Money in the Bank. And then the main event, the Bloodline Civil War, the Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. And this match was pretty awesome. Roman Reigns was dominating for the most part, and he was bossing Solo around a little bit in there, calling the shots. There was one moment which was really cool where Roman hit a spear and Solo hit a Samoan spike at the same time on Jey Uso, and then they smashed him, spiked him, and tried to pin him, but they both kicked out at the same time, which was crazy. I thought for sure that was it. One of the craziest kickouts I've ever seen. And then Roman Reigns just broke down. He was in disbelief. He was almost crying, and Solo was looking at him. He was like, "What the hell? You're the tribal chief. What are you doing?" And he kind of took charge, so I think that's kind of a seed planted right there. That was really cool. And then Solo went for a splash on Jimmy through the table, and Jimmy moved. Solo went through the table, and in the end, Usos took control. They focused solely on Roman Reigns, super kicks, and Uso splash from Jey Uso, and Jey Uso became the first man in 3 years to pin Roman Reigns clean. That was pretty crazy. Clearly seems like they did this big move so that we believe in Jey going into SummerSlam, so they could make this SummerSlam match a really big draw between Jey and Roman Reigns. They did it in the Thunderdome and it was great. Now they get to do it in front of live fans, so that should be really cool. Obviously, I don't really see Jey winning against Roman, unfortunately, but it'll be very interesting what happens in the match in terms of storyline. I don't quite know if the Bloodline is actually gonna break up, or if this is just going to be a momentary kind of feud. I feel like it might be a momentary kind of feud with these guys, but we'll have to wait and see. They're definitely setting up what could happen with Solo. He hasn't been mistreated yet by Roman Reigns, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but there's definitely plenty of story left to tell with this, and I think Roman is probably just going to hold the title until Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. So yeah, I think that's going to be how it is. No way Damian Priest cashes in on Roman Reigns, unfortunately. But yeah, it seems like Jey versus Roman at SummerSlam, and the story's been great there. A very good show. And for WSC coming up, we got the WSC Hardcore Championship Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes defending it in a Hardcore Royal Rumble match. And we got some build up towards that, which you'll see very soon. But I want to know what you guys thought of Money in the Bank 2023. Comment down below, let me know. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next video.